Namaste, and welcome to our continuing series, Interviews with Disciples and Devotees. I would like to invite you to write to me via my email, Narada, Narada, 12 @gmail.com, or call me at 7418687764 if you would like to do an interview on your life, your background, your first meeting with Sri Aurobindo or Mother, or your first contact with them, anything you would like to share. It's very, very informal. There's no pressure at all. And I am beginning again now to interview people in the ashram, outside of the ashram, in different parts of the world, and India, and in Auroville. So please do write or call me. Today, I'm very, very happy to have with us Roopali. Namaste, Roopali.
Namaste.
That's the first question I always ask is, how did you come in contact with Sri Aurobindo and Mother?
So my first contact with Sri Aurobindo and the Mother was in 2017. I was in the final year of my master's degree, and we were supposed to do an internship. So a lot of people from our university used to come here earlier in batches to do their internship with Dr. Alok Pandey.
Oh, and where was your university?
This was Delhi University. So in our batch also we had like a group of 8 to 10 people who had come to Pondicherry. Now initially my plan was to come to Pondicherry, but then my mother was unwell. So I cancelled my plan and I went to Bangalore. And I went there, I was interning there with her autism center. But something happened there, and I left the internship. I was feeling very disturbed. So I went back to Delhi, and then I had a dream in the afternoon, I remember. And in that dream, I saw a building, a grey colored building with a lantern. These particular French lanterns that you find here in Pondicherry. I didn't know back then what is this building, where is it, but I remember in that dream I had seen Swami Vivekanand, and this is the second time I had seen him.
Second time?
Yes.
Could you tell me the first time?
I'll tell you the first time. So in that, and when I woke up, the first thought in my mind was go to Pondicherry. And immediately I had a call from one of my friends who was here, who had already come here, and she said that Alok Da had asked her to tell me that I should come here. And in those events, I called up my mother. I asked her, can I go to Pondicherry? She said, sure, go, if you want to go. And that is when I came here. I remember the date, 17th of June, 2017. I came here. It was evening around 7 that I was here.
Was that your birthday?
No.
No. What is your birthday?
10th October.
10th of October. Yes. So you came on 17th of June towards 17th. The evening.
Yes. And I'd come, kept my luggage, and my friend said, do you want to go to ashram now or do you want to go in the morning? I said, I would like to go now. And we went. Normally, and that time I didn't have the pass till then. So they don't allow visitors post, I guess, 6:30. So I went in, nobody said anything to me. I went in and I put my head on the samadhi, and uh, it was a feeling that I would describe as coming back home after a long time. And till then, I used to miss my father a lot. And when I was there at the samadhi, I felt this hand over my head, and I knew it was Sri Aurobindo, but that feeling you have when you lost a parent, um, suddenly you feel that shelter is gone. I felt it back again after a long time. And I was there for almost 2 hours, and nobody said anything to me. Normally, they ask people to get up and leave. Nobody said anything.
2 hours at the samadhi.
Yes. And this was the first time I was coming here. I didn't know anything about Sri Aurobindo and the mother at that time. Nothing. I had not read anything about them. I didn't know. So that was my first contact with Sri Aurobindo. I would say it took me some months to connect with the mother, because when I had come in during that internship also, we learned many things. Alokda taught us many things. I used to read Sri Aurobindo. I started reading Savitri, but I could not because at that time started with the first page, usually how your mind approaches a book, and I would not understand a single line of the poem. What is it about? What is it talking about? Until I think it was in the month of July, if I remember the date correctly. No, it was, it was in the month of July 2017. So I came on 2016, not 17. 17th June 2016, yes. That was the second year. 25th July 2017 is the day I remember. I was working at that point of time. I started teaching. That was my first assignment. And
where were you teaching?
I was teaching at Jain University, Bangalore. That was the first teaching assignment I had. And I remember sitting there, I was having a conversation with the student, and when he finished, he left. I felt a wind touch me, and it was it was an experience I don't think I can describe, but I had this very soft air which touched, and I knew the mother. It was just that moment and that contact, and I knew her. And since then, I feel I received her more and more and more. Till then, in the beginning, it was more contact with Sri Aurobindo, reading the Life Divine. That was again the first book that I read, not knowing anything about what it is. But I think and it took me a year to read the Life Divine, because I would read every day 1 page or 2 page. And then
you read the whole book?
And I read the whole
in 1 year?
In 1 year. And I always felt that the book told me things, and I didn't make any effort to understand it. It's like, how parents serve you a meal and your mom feeds it to you.
Yeah.
It was more like that. And there were very two different points of contact, but after that I felt more in communion with them.
What is your field of psychology? Can you tell us about it a bit? Your work? I understand from you yesterday that you told me you started a new business.
Yes.
So please take time to tell us.
So I'm a counseling psychologist by profession. Counseling psychologist.
Counseling psychology.
And but before this, I was teaching. So I started with teaching as a career, where I taught the different fields of psychology, be it counseling, be it clinical, be it developmental psychology. So I have a special interest in developmental psychology and counseling psychology. And so I started teaching, and I always had this push for bringing into the Indian knowledge systems into psychology, because the way we study it now in university and colleges, it's mostly the Western idea of psychology. And even in Western idea of psychology, it's polarized. There were many schools of thought, but because of political reasons, there were only few schools which gained more traction, and we are taught more of that. For example, there were people like Carl Jung or Erik Erikson who had an inclination towards Eastern thought, but they were very conveniently removed from the modern day psychology, and what we are taught is largely Sigmund Freud or the schools of behaviorism, which just say that a human being is just a combination of different behaviors, different patterns and structures in their behavior is their personality. So it's a very superficial understanding of what psychology is all about. But when you read Sri Aurobindo, or when you read Swami Vivekananda, or even any other text in Indian philosophy, it goes to so many subtler layers that is a more proper understanding of the why of psychology. Why is it happening? Modern psychology, the way it's taught is only what is happening, at the surface level. What do you see? Certain structures, certain patterns. Your statistical analysis will give you certain attitudes, certain patterns across, and that's how we understand personality. But why do we have a personality like this? They answer it in a way that it's just genetics and social environment. There are these factors. But why? What within me responds, and what within me takes or molds in a particular character? There's no answer to it. So when you read Eastern schools, largely the Indian philosophical systems, their explanation goes to so many layers and so many depths, and understanding that the individual is a part of the cosmic reality and the nature, what you call. So a fundamental question in psychology is nature versus nurture. We use this phrase often, right? But they don't have an answer. When you ask, okay, what is nature? How do you describe nature? What is the first thing that comes to your mind by nature? It would be going out in the environment, right? That's how we perceive it.
Sure.
But then they use the term nature in terms of your genetics and personality. Isn't that a
Yeah.
contradictory idea, confusing idea? So for me, a lot of clarification in terms of the whys. Why am I thinking like this? Where do thoughts come? I had this fundamental question in class 9, I remember. I always used to think, how do we think? Where do thoughts come from? And that was when I took up biology as my specialization, like as this stream of studies in school. So I remember reading a lot about mirror neurons and cognitive neurosciences at that point of time, because you feel that okay, the answer is in the brain, maybe that's how we approach. But then sooner I figured out, no, biology, modern biology doesn't have my answers. Then I moved to psychology. I remember asking my teacher this question, and she said, when you do a PhD, you'll get an answer.
Oh.
But then I studied psychology, couldn't find the answer. But when I moved to Indian psychology, when I read Sri Aurobindo, he had not just answered that one question, but so many more other questions that you can have. Even he makes you think about more questions that you can have over life and over psychology as a. So what we know of psychology right now is maybe 0.25%. And when you read Sri Aurobindo, you understand that you have a whole ocean to understand. So, because I always had that maybe the need to explore more, I started understanding that we have to also bring Indian psychology on the table. Maybe because of colonialism, we have started imitating the West, and we think only the Western mind is right and what the Western theories say is right. Maybe in sciences they have done a good job till now, but even they are coming back to the Upanishads to find answers to subtler realities. So, that is why I felt the need to bring Indian psychology more into ground. But in teaching, it's not possible because you have a structured syllabus and a curriculum to teach. You can't go much beyond that. That is when I decided to quit my job. And I had initially come to Pondicherry for some time. You remember it. I was here, I was contemplating on joining the ashram, and maybe that would be a better road. But then I had a meeting with Shradhaluda, and he made me understand that it is easier to just leave everything and come here, and that's any person who is more spiritual will have that bent of mind, will have a normal there's an attraction to come into the ashram and settle, and it would be okay. But then you're not doing the work, and if you have to do the work, if you believe that you're mother's child, then you have to do her work. So that is when I started my own organization.
How long ago was that?
It was on 21st February of this year. So the name also for the organization, it was interesting. I saw it in a dream, and we've named it Twashtri. Twashtri is one of the Vedic gods who designs the mold of the human nature, and that also I got in a dream. And initially I couldn't find the meaning, a proper meaning on Google. I googled, I tried to look, but then I opened Sri Aurobindo's The Secret of the Vedas, and that is where I found the meaning. And so we've started this organization largely to bring the Indian knowledge system into modern psychology, practice counseling from that perspective, teach people about this mode of understanding human nature, which has been there for many, many years, but we lost that whole thought, maybe because of circumstances, situations that Mother India went through. But now, since she is coming out of it, so even we as children need to come out of the older thoughts and establish the newer. Um,
Well, did you
Yes.
get, you got an MA so far?
yes.
What about a PhD? Any thoughts?
I did want to get a PhD, but the area that I want to work on is not very popular. So I'm still hoping someday I will find a supervisor who will guide me in that area. But initially I used to believe that the PhD or the degree is going to allow me to do a lot of work. But of recent I found out that it's just a degree. And if you want to do the work, you can keep doing the work.
Wonderful, wonderful.
So,
Tell me a little bit about your work at your new center.
so
The people who come, the problems that you are confronted with.
So I think the amount of learning I have had in the last few months was exceptional, because when you are learning in life only with your experiences, you have only limited experiences in your bag. But when you are working with people, different people with their experiences, their experiences also teach you a lot about life. It's not about what is good or bad. It's about the totality of humanity that you get to see. So when I started, before that I'd read a lot of mother's commentaries on how she would deal with people and how she would respond to people coming to her with any problem. And one thing I felt was she never said that this problem is less important and that problem is more important. She said we all are going through it. As and if she can say it, like she can say it, that we all as humanity are going through it, then I feel even I as a person might be going through a lot of those. So my approach when I started was to maybe read Mother before and after every session, as and when I can. Interestingly, the people who came to the center initially in the first 4 months, most of them were connected to the Mother in some way or the other,
Oh, interesting.
which was so beautiful. There was this one person who, as a child, used to visit the ashram with her grandmother, and they used to have mother's picture at their home, in her mother's home. When she got married, she suddenly lost contact with the ashram, didn't have mother's picture, didn't remember her much. But I remember when the day she came in, she was very disturbed and she had booked an appointment, and she said, "It's an emergency, I want to meet you right away." I said, "Okay, please come." And she enters into the room. I have a picture of Mother in Sri Aurobindo right when she entered, it's there. She looked inside. Before looking at me, she is looking at Mother's picture and she says, "Oh, Mother is here." And it was so beautiful. I saw her, this wonderful woman, transforming into something so beautiful. She's very older than me. She's around in her late 40s, and very knowledgeable, very reflective in life. And I felt those are the moments I realized that when Mother says that we are her instruments, we truly are. As much as we can open ourselves to her light, she does the work. And when I say that I am facing a limitation in a counseling setup where I don't understand the problem sometimes, or maybe even when I understand, I don't know how to respond to it. Largely it is because of my own limitation, because my ego will also have many judgments. So it gives us that, at least gives me that opportunity to reflect onto. Sometimes, yes, there have been encounters with people who have very heavy energy, and that has been very draining. In the last couple of months, I had few experiences. I told you yesterday on
Yes.
17th of November, I had a terrible day, and it's largely around certain themes. When I meet people with certain problems around certain themes, that is when I feel the energy completely being sucked.
You had mentioned suicide.
Yes, yes.
Why is that rather prevalent in your experience in psychology?
It has become rather much prevalent in today's times, owing to media exposure. People
Oh.
read, people listen to the news of suicides. It has also become fashionable, I would say, in some ways, because young generation, they are attracted by this idea that if things are not going on my way, then I should just exit the world. And that comes from a lot of sense of entitlement that I deserve so much in life, there should be no suffering. And all of these have been created by the kind of things we see in media, the kind of picture of a life that a movie portrays or a TV show portrays, that, if you don't have this in life, then your life is not perfect. So people are constantly trying to gauge their lives according to this benchmark that has been set by a particular narrative through a movie, through a TV show, earlier,
And the media.
and the media, the news channels, the social media, the kind of clothes you should wear versus the kind of hairstyle you should keep, the kind of body image you should have. So if I'm not having that, I'm not good enough, or life is not good enough, so I should just end it. But what they don't understand is, even after you end the body, your soul is going to linger around. And that will have impact on not just you and your journey, but all the people who were connected to you. And I've had people in my family, extended family, who died by suicide, and their parents left behind are the ones still suffering. They are the ones still suffering.
Sure.
Because they don't know why or what to do. How do you handle this? So with suicide, I feel there are a lot of chaotic, this energy of chaos is very high, very heavy. So people who have witnessed suicide, people who have tried it, they all come with these chaotic energies, which sometimes are very difficult to manage for us as therapists sitting on the other end, because you are receiving, when somebody comes into a
Sure.
therapy space, they are just throwing out all kinds of energies from themselves. Okay, basic anxiety, little depression you can handle, even with some other situations you can handle, but suicide for me has been particularly difficult. It's not that I don't handle those clients well, but I see myself draining a lot of energy in that process, because that energy of life versus death transaction is constantly happening.
Do you ever read Mother to them?
Yes, I have this picture of Mother's symbol with the powers written on them.
Yes.
And I have a picture of that. So I use that sometimes in therapeutic space. I show them that, what is this all about? And most of them find it very fascinating. They take a picture of it to remember the force, the action of the force, and how the symbol so beautifully brings out the aspect of Maheshwari and Mahakali and Mahasaraswati. And we see people are seeking wisdom and beauty and love and perfection in their life. They are suffering because they don't know how to seek it. They are initially suffering because they don't know what they are seeking. What are they seeking in life? The first time you ask somebody, okay, what is your aspiration in life? What are you seeking? They usually say, I want a very peaceful life, or I want to have adventures in life. I want to travel around, see places. I want to be happy. These are the first responses. But then you ask them to dig a little deeper. Oftentimes it's the four aspects of Mahashakti they are seeking. Someone for perfection, someone for harmony and love and beauty, someone for power, manifesting power, understanding power, seeking power, maybe through money, maybe through something else. And some are just looking for pure knowledge and that wisdom, high wisdom. And that is when people see that picture, they can connect to it very physically. It's very concrete experience for them. So I have personally found that mother comes to help in so many ways. Some of my clients, I've kept her books, Sri Aurobindo and mother's books in different, in the center. Smaller, the All India magazines that we have. Some books as mother's answers to decide questions and answers. They take the books, they read them. There are many books by Swami Vivekanand because I've loved reading him as a child. Swami Vivekanand.
Yes.
So people take his books as well. There are commentaries on the Bhagavad Gita by Sri Aurobindo, by many other people that whatever I have had, wherever I felt a contact with, I've kept them for people so that they can come, and even if something touches them from a distance as well, that touch is enough to heal. So, and I read a lot of times Savitri with people. That is a different magic altogether.
Can you tell me a little bit about your family and their feelings, what they seek? I have met your both sisters, and I've seen the baby.
Yes.
Met your mother.
So currently I have my mother and two sisters, both of them married, and so I have my brother-in-laws as well. My eldest sister is in data sciences. She is in IT. My brother-in-law is also in the same domain. My other sister is in finance, taxation, and her husband is in hotel management, the hotel hotel management industry. My mother is a very spiritual woman. She has been our contact for our connection to the divine since childhood. She says that her contact has been her mother, and
How beautiful! How beautiful!
So interestingly, both my parents, my mother and father, were devotees of Ma Kali. And because my father's family belonged to Dakshineshwar, where Sri Ramakrishna did his sadhana with Ma Kali, and my mother is, for some reason, she since childhood felt attraction towards Ma Kali, so she would always remember her, connect to her more. So as children, we have grown up seeing our parents. So one beautiful thing that our parents did as we were growing up, they used to take us to the Ramakrishna mission, Ramakrishna ashram, almost on every weekend. And as children, we didn't like it much because we wanted to play, go out somewhere. But this, especially my father, he said, no, we are going to the ashram, and then wherever you want to go, we can go later. But we'll first go to the ashram. Maybe they also derived their nourishment from that place. So I think those were the seeds that were sown for us while we were growing up. All three of us are very different, but when you come from the same family, you share a very beautiful bond. So I see as my family is full of women now. So I see that we all represent or have different aspects of that feminine energy. My eldest sister is more methodical, more powerful, more dominating. That's how we call her. But she's also the one who protects and shelters. If we are stuck somewhere, we don't know, we want to make a decision, we ask her what to do. So the other one is more fun-loving, easygoing. So she...
But very intelligent also.
Very intelligent, yes. Her intellect works in a very different way. She's more of a people's person. she can navigate that space better. So I think I've learned a lot. I wouldn't say learn is the right word, but I have been always protected by my family, and I feel that's a great gift because when I work with a lot of clients, I see that there are not many families who stand by each other or who protect each other. Thankfully, I have always had their protection with me, a very living. Even my father, I still feel that he had some limitations as a person. He was a very angry man, but he was also spiritual. He was also uh, very clear about certain things in life, very, very clear about certain values to follow, about maintaining certain boundaries. And I think those are some things that I've looked up to him for. My sister, my eldest sister, has those qualities more. So, as a child, I was a very quiet child when I grew up. My mother tells me that when I was little, I was in nursery, kindergarten. I used to go to school and then I used to come back and I would have a stick and a chalk and a board, and I would teach imaginary children. And she said I used to find it funny, but also I used to be concerned as to why is this girl not playing with other children. So she went to my school to ask my teacher that she doesn't talk much at home. Does she talk here? And is she doing well in her exams? Is she studying? And my teacher said yes, she is. She is. I did pretty well in school at that time. And she said no, she talks and she's very bright. So I've heard from many people as I grew up, many teachers commented that you don't speak much, you're quiet. When I was in 11th grade, one teacher said you're lethargic, which I still remember, because I didn't like wasting a lot of energy talking to people then. So there was something which was a little different, but I think that has always saved me.
I wanted to ask you a question about the people who come to you and are divorced.
Mm.
And is divorce happening more rapidly now in this age?
So I have data only to corroborate with what we read in according to past. Yes, the number of divorce rates have gone very high. More than divorce, people are considering living in separation, where you're not legally separated, but you're living in two different places with no contact. More and more people are going towards it. Largely, I find two reasons for it. One, people are not sure and clear about what is it that they want in their life. So they are not sure about their partners as well. If you don't know where are you going in life, you don't know who to choose, who should you be living with. The second thing is, when you are living with someone, I don't know if it is a good thing or a bad thing, but people don't compromise on their individuality anymore. Especially women, I think that's a good thing, because as a society for almost a long time, I would say 70 to 80 years, in this country, women have been compromising and adjusting in the name of just keeping the family together. They suffered a lot, physically, emotionally, psychologically, in every way. And I don't think as a woman I appreciate that. I wouldn't like to suffer just to keep a family together. A family is supposed to make you feel safe, a family is supposed to make you feel nourished. And if it's not happening for you, why do you even call it a family, right? So more and more people are, yes, going through divorces, but there are second marriages also happening. People are later on finding partners later in life. So a lot of relationship churning is happening, I guess, where we understand the true meaning of relationship, which is not dependent on any legal binding or any social sanction.
Mother has spoken a lot about it in Orville.
Yes.
First names only,
Yeah.
she said. And secondly, she said, marriage contract is only a piece of paper. And if one doesn't love one totally, why is there a necessity to remain together?
True.
Now I want to ask you about that first experience with Swami Vivekananda, if I may.
So I don't remember exactly what age, but I think I must be 9 or 10, something like that. We had gone to Belur Mutt in West Bengal, and there is Swami Vivekananda's room there, and there was a mango tree somewhere. I don't remember exactly the locations, but it's a very strange experience. I don't know whether it was reality or it was happening somewhere else. I still don't have an answer to it. So we were going, and there was this big uh, mango tree, and people were, I think, doing their pranams there in front, and the mango tree was planted by Swami Vivekananda. That's what I remember about that tree. So I remember that I also bowed down to the tree to do pranam, and a mango, a very small, tiny raw mango, fell on my head. And it was the first time I had a very physical experience of Swami Vivekananda. Before that, I used to sit, we had this huge statue of Swami Vivekananda in Sri Ramakrishna Ashram, and I used to sit there a lot. It was covered with those trees which have yellow flowers. I don't know what you call them, but it was covered with those trees all in all the sides, and it was so beautiful to just sit below that statue. I remember I as a child used to talk to him a lot. I still call him my first crush ever. If I can ever get a man like that. Because there's something about his eyes that has always had a very powerful impact on me. So that particular incident, when the mango fell on my head, I felt a very physical touch of Swami Vivekananda in my body. And I don't know if that happened, if that really happened or not. I asked my mom, and she said nothing like that happened. You must be dreaming, or maybe it was a dream, I don't know. But if I still have that feeling or that touch, it is real to me.
Looking at the world today, in reference to psychology, in reference to what Sri Aurobindo and Mother have brought down, what are your perspectives?
I think we have a long way to go in terms of just understanding ourselves. What they have talked about is deep. It's every time I read them, it's mentally we feel that we understand what they're talking about. There is a higher mind, and then there is a over mind, intuitive mind, and then there is over mind. But what I have come to understand and experience is, it is huge. It is like standing in front of the ocean and saying, yes, I understand it's the Bay of Bengal and it's marked from this territory to that, but I don't really know what Bay of Bengal is. I'm still standing outside. I still need to go down the water and experience it with all its fishes and the corals, and it's a very different life that we are preparing more and more for. I find a lot of young people being so open to Mother and Sri Aurobindo, more so being open to Sri Krishna as of now, um, especially those who are in the age groups of 17 to 23. I have had many sessions, many clients from that age group, and most of them are open to Sri Krishna. They read Bhagavad Gita. When you introduce them to Sri Aurobindo, they are fascinated, so they want to read more. So I think we are I don't know, but maybe we are at that brink where we've come closer to the waves touching the feet, and we are preparing to jump into the water. Of course, that experience, that journey will be much longer when the whole transformation will happen. People here talk a lot about transformation, and supramental manifestation will happen this way or that way, but we don't know much about it. We know it will happen for sure, but the grounds are preparing, that much I can see, both within myself and the people who come, also the students who come to my center for learning. They are very receptive to, they are also understanding psychology. The modern psychology that we study is not enough to really answer questions. So all in all, I guess we are, it's the journey is starting, and we are preparing for it. uh, I think we have been preparing for the last 200 years, but more so it's coming up in the front.
Where do you see yourself in the next 10, 20 years? Would you be living in the ashram or continuing your work?
I have no idea.
No idea. That's a good thing, because the guidance will be there
Yes.
to lead you. Anything else that we have to cover? Art, music,
Anything.
beauty, what can you share on that? Do you paint?
Yes, I paint. I started learning watercolor painting, and it is quite an experience to learn that. Of course, not, no, I mean, I learned through watching videos and just experimenting on my own, and I feel there is so much beauty all around, but because we are not giving it attention, the attention it needs, it is being perverted more and more. In the sense that when you look at architectures, we had beautiful architecture. We had such a refined sense of architecture. We had detailed pottery. We had anything. The door locks used to be so beautiful and detailed. But more so with the modern design, everything has become minimalistic, and it's just one structure, standardized understanding of beauty. That is, again, this is temporary. From what I understand, it's temporary. Maybe for 30-40 years this style remains, but people are, if you're touch with, I'm saying this as a psychologist, if you lose touch with beauty, you also lose touch with that deeper rasa of life, that essence of joy of in life. So one needs to consciously engage with beauty, spend time through music, through art, through dance, through cooking, anything which can connect you to the sense of beauty and joy. And I feel, as a psychologist, I shouldn't be saying this, but the whole hype around mental health, and mental health is should be taken seriously, and disorders are very common. Everyone has anxiety and depression. Everyone has anxiety and depression because everyone is disconnected with who they are.
With
who they are. And that's why these are all ripple or impacts or effects, the symptoms of losing connection to who you are. And art, music, dance, cooking, anything which has to do with beauty and joy and love connects you back to your source. So if you can practice that more in a more meaningful way, not just to create paintings for the sake of selling them, not capitalize it, then I feel a lot of these disordered states will resolve on their own. We will not be needed there. And I hope in future we don't have psychologists and counselors. We don't need them. I shouldn't be saying that, but that is what I hope, that that there be a day where humanity is so conscious and so aware of itself that it doesn't need to go to someone else and tell them that there's something wrong with me. You figure out, you fix me. I had this recent experience with a doctor. I was going through a lot of back pain for the last 1 year post COVID. And I went to this one doctor who is an acupuncture therapist. I told you about her. And she healed me in 10 days. And she told me about energy medicine and how understanding energy really helps you in healing faster. In healing, not just your healing is not based on just medicines, but you are able to explore this whole domain of energy and its healing effects. And yes, we are talking more about the vital energy right now, but if we become aware of the higher grades of energy as well, that is when I had this feeling, isn't it strange that we know so much about the world, we know about the universe, we talk about this and that, we don't even know about our own body. We don't understand it. We have to go and ask someone else. You tell me what is my problem.
very true. Yes. How serious was your back injury?
It was very difficult. I couldn't sleep or stand or sit at one point of time. I was not able to do any of that. I had terrible pain in my shoulders. I had terrible pain in my lower back. I had a disc bulge. It was a lot of things going on, but it all healed. Most of it has healed.
How did she work on you?
She usually uses acupressure as the medium, but if you have extreme of something, she'll also give acupuncture. They put some these pins on your ears, or in some scenarios they put it on your feet or on your hands, wherever that pain is. So I am learning a lot now. I think whatever I've learned till my degree course was very limited. Now I am learning so much more. And now I was just telling this to Alokda yesterday. I feel like somebody should teach me. So there's so much more to learn. I want a teacher for this. I want a teacher for that. I want to learn this. And he says, it's okay. Learning will come to you as and when you need it. But yeah, it's a very fascinating journey. I think I've just started.
Do you speak of beauty and art and music to your patients?
Yes. So I also got a training in arts-based therapy. And so we use a lot of art as a medium, or music as a medium, or movement as a medium in therapy. And it's very integrative. It's multi-layered. I had this one client with whom we just worked with music, because for him music was a sadhana. So since he was already doing that, we used that as a medium to work on other things he might be struggling with. So that is what it is, that your life is not divided into different parts. It's not like that I do music 2 hours a day and I just leave it there. It is a part of who you are, and it is going to work on everything else, starting from your thoughts to your emotions to your body as well, if you allow it to work. And that is what the whole process of bridging this together is. So I keep on learning different things, different mediums of how can we use what in therapy space. But the more dynamic your therapeutic space is, the more complete healing is possible. That's what I have understood from the little practice that I've had till now.
Have you practiced any specific healing techniques? There are so many out there now. In Oroville we see Reiki here and this year and something else, and people giving classes and all these different things.
So most of my techniques or tools that I use, they either come from the Vedic analogies, the stories in the Vedas and the Upanishads.
Oh,
I pick them up and I fashion them into different activities where you experience those things. Or I refer to mother's writings, and what she's talking about, I use those elements and put them into practice. Less talking, more experiencing is what I use in therapy space. So you talk less, you experience more. You open yourself to, for example, something as simple as you are feeling overwhelmed. Mother had written it in one of the answers. You stand in front of the ocean or in the sky and widen your consciousness. You'll feel that overwhelm being, it'll just go away because your consciousness has widened. I practice this thing with my clients, and they had miraculous effects in 5 days, 6 days. And the depressive state where you are locked in a small container where you can't look beyond yourself. For the first time, when you are focusing on the sky, you are going beyond yourself and your attention is on something else. So you're able to reflect onto that experience. So what I have learned is, when you experience something versus when you tell something to someone, these are two very different things. The experience is going to remain with them and act on them even if they don't practice it every day. And I feel that is the power of the experience. And yes, of course, if the divine touch is there, then it will heal. But I don't practice Reiki or pranic healing or any of those techniques because they involve a lot of symbolic structures, and they are the vital plane which I am not very adept in dealing. But I've seen people, I have interacted with people who follow or who do that work. One of the persons I know was a friend's aunt who is a pranic healer, very very wonderful person, who told me that this kind of, it's good to understand the science, but it has a toll on you. It impacts your energy at the end of the day. So it's better not to go that road if you are already following the other road.
yes.
So again, those kind of things, Mother also wants, Sri Aurobindo has also written to some practitioners, I believe. So I don't practice, I don't go that. But yes, these are available. The more we are, um, you know, progressing with science, we understand that all of this is possible. So much of energy healing, sound healing. Sound has healing capacities, right? We used to have earlier in temples in India, we would have bells, at the entrance, and each bell was designed at a particular height and weight to create a particular sound, which will be manifesting one vibration. So it was said that when you stand in right below that bell, it will have an impact onto your body, onto your consciousness. So we had all of this science, it's all coming back again. We will, for the next, I guess, 50 or 100 years, experiment with these things. Everything will come in fashion. Pranic healing, Reiki, sound healing will again come back in fashion. And then we will slowly integrate and go towards those higher zones of healing. I think that's how I perceive it happening.
I have only two more questions. One was a meeting with Dr. Dalal when I interviewed him. He's in his 90s now. And I asked him, has anyone in science mentioned the word God? He said no. None at all. But now there is some acceptance that there is a consciousness that has created this universe.
So I recently read an article on this new particle, I guess. This was discovered and named as the sun goddess particle. I'd read it, the sun goddess first, and then I opened the whole article. It's fascinating, isn't it? When you can't really describe the whole thing, you put a label as God's particle. And then now you find something more complicated and subtler than that, and you name it as the sun goddess particle. So these are all references coming from the Vedic times of the Aditi as the sun goddess. And though they have written it's from the Japanese tradition that they picked up the name, science will eventually have to come and join with spirituality, because it is not divorced. It was never divorced. It's again an illusion which was created for people to believe that science and spirituality are two different things. It's just a game of ignorance, I believe. For some time it wanted to have fun. I said just divide it and let people play, like hide and seek. You are seeking each other, you are seeking the different parts.
Sri Aurobindo says they're working from below, from what we're working from above, and we'll join.
Yes.
Yeah.
So God's particle, I guess, science does mention God, but in its own way.
Now, in its own way, yes. But very recently.
Very recently, yes.
Last question is your experience in the Matrimandya chamber. And compared, if you will, with the ashram, or how different it is, or... Tough question.
It is. I don't think I can really describe the experience of Matri Mandir, because it's different every single time that I go in. It's a very different kind of power. It is so decisive as a power. You remember last time when I came in January, what happened with me was after the Matri Mandir darshan, I came here with someone. And
can you speak a little bit about it to our audience?
I think that was about a particular choice I had to make in life about a relationship, and it was lying around for a long time. I wasn't sure, and I went inside the Matri Mandir. This person also went inside the Matri Mandir. He came out. I think both of us had a very decisive experience. So it is that powerful. When you surrender to that kind of force, it can do the work for you without expecting or asking you to do anything. So you just prepare. The kind of force that I've felt in Matri Mandir is this enveloping embrace of Mother. I feel the same way here at Samadhi also. Matri Mandir is more concentrated because I think it's also the structure that you go inside 20 minutes and then you come out.
Yeah.
It has I feel the same way when I go to Sri Aurobindo's room. It's very... That's a different power.
And walking up the ramp is almost a preparation.
Yes.
Isn't it? to go into the
to go into
chamber.
the chamber. It is, and I've told this to so many people. When you go to Pondicherry, go to the inner chamber of Matri Mandir, because you do that until and unless you don't do that, you don't really have an experience of what power is there. Because a lot of people come and they see from the outside and they go back and they are like, okay, what do you keep talking
That's
about?
a tourist thing.
Yes, and
Yeah.
they are like, why do you keep talking so much about ashram and going to Pondicherry every 2-3 months? What do you get?
Yeah.
These kind of things. But again, that's different for different people. People who are more open. My sister had a beautiful experience in the inner chamber. She, I saw that shift also in her. Very, very beautiful experience in holding. I think it depends on your receptivity, your openness, your preparation. Again, how much you've already um, climbed up the ramp. It's going to determine the experience. But it's such a it's the power is so intense and yet so motherly. It can only be mother's power, because it acts just according to what you can take that day. If you can't take that day, it's very soft, it's very cocoon sheltered. I had that experience also once when I was not prepared for anything, and had a relatively very mild experience. So that these kind of experiences also allow you to see her grace and beauty.
Perfect ending. Thank you, Roopali. Namaste.
Namaste.